wonderful to be here tonight, celebrating in the historic State Theater in beautiful downtown Red Bluff. This theater was old way back when Aaron Standish started going to movies, back in the late 60s. I used to have to sit down here when you were a little kid. They always made you sit down here in the front to watch the Disney movies and the cartoons. You couldn't go past that wall. That was it looks right now it's just the Derrick barrier, the derriere. But it used to be, when I was 8 years old, it was like a Berlin Wall. I mean, even if you tried to sneak across no man's land and get up into the freedom of the upstairs, always a couple little commie tattletales down here be like, he's leaving, look! And those movies, some of those Disney movies were pretty scary when I was a kid. Bedknobs and Broomsticks made me cry. I don't know why, I can't remember what it's about. Sounds like a lesbian porno. Pretty sure that wouldn't make me cry now. So maybe tears of joy. Still had to sit down here with the little kids when I would come with my Lincoln Street crew to watch the Planet of the Apes movies, or Poseidon Adventure, or Legend of Boggy Creek, or The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. It's Paul Newman and Charlton Heston on a sinking ship with Bigfoot. They don't make movies like that anymore. Good times. I was sitting right over there watching the Cowboys when that dirty hippie Bruce Dern shot John Wayne in the back. It started like 10 years of fights between the Cowboys and hippies at Red Bluff High School. And I hated Bruce Dern. Up until like a few months later, when he was in Silent Running, and his little robot Louie died. I love you, Freeman. By then, at least, I was old enough to pretend to be old enough to sneak upstairs. And I even paid for 2 lounge seats so I could sit up there and make out with my 6th grade girlfriend. Yeah, seems like only yesterday. Luckily for me, it wasn't. Perverts. It was a long time ago. Long time ago. It was 1973, and the movie was The Way We Were. Oh, Jesus. What a stupid movie for 2 6th graders to go see. The Way We Were when? 5th grade? It's not like you had a choice then. You didn't get to go pick what you saw at the movies. You just went to the movie. That was all there was. And I'm not complaining. I mean, if it would have been a good movie, I wouldn't have got to make out the whole time. So. The Way We Were is still one of my favorite movies to not watch. Takes me back, man. Can it be that life was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? Because I know I haven't. Misty watercolor memories. Like the ones on the wall. Yeah, I always knew if the movie sucked, at least I could eat popcorn and look at boobies. Like I do at home all the time. Yeah. I remember distinctly sitting all the way up the top there when I was watching Jaws, because when the head fell out of the hole in the bottom of the boat, I screamed like a little girl. They made me sit down here in the front row. Came to see Rocky in 1976. Came with my black friend, that was awkward. And I remember sitting up top of the other side during Animal House, cracking up. John Belushi does the opposite. Everybody's laughing. Dan Frashad drops his Yukon Jack bottle, and it rolls. And just at the last minute, this hand reached out of the darkness. Never saw that bottle again. And that's why I always, from then on, I would sit at the bottom of the upstairs. Because eventually the bottle will come to you. Sounds like a Merle Haggard song, huh? Anyway, I think Blues Brothers was the last movie I watched in here before Al Mitchell turned this beautiful room into 2 ugly boxes. Or maybe it was Up in Smoke. That seems more appropriate, actually. Both for the end of a movie house tradition and my childhood innocence. Anyway, the theater's back the way it's supposed to be. We're back here where we're supposed to be. All I meant to say was, hey, have a good time. I'll let you know. Wild Oak, 20 years, that is something to celebrate. I think it can best be summed up in the immortal words of Bob the Maintenance Man. He used to work for Mid's Property Management back when Liz and I were celebrating Wild Oak's 1-year anniversary. Bob spoke for a lot of people in town when he came in and said, "Damn, I can't believe this place is still open." So congratulations to Doug and Sarah for keeping the place open through the toughest economic times this town has seen since the 70s. And they not only came through with high-flying psychedelic colors, they are the reason that we're here tonight celebrating 20 years of Red Bluff's grooviest place to get your hip on. Unless you count Amazon's physical therapy. Well, actually, that's like the grooviest place to get your replacement hip worked on. It's a little different kind of groove. It seems like only 21 years ago that Liz and I were selling tie-dyes and jewelry and comic books at crafts fairs and festivals and rodeos and gun shows and cockfights and whatever. I mean, vending is a pretty easy way to make a buck. If you want to make more than a buck, it's not very easy, though. Some of those shows we worked out, we didn't get a single customer sometimes. Just other vendors. You know, like the old guy selling cowboy jewelry and Burlwood clocks, who gives you the stink eye until he sees your toolbox. "Hey, how much for the duct tape?" We always used to make more off of duct tape than comic books, that's for sure. And I wanted to take, well, occasionally though, somebody would offer to trade you a t-shirt for LSD, so it wasn't always bad. But we would not do that, of course. Have you ever tried to fold a tie-dye t-shirt on LSD? Can't be done! And I wanted to take what little money we managed to save after 3 years, straight to the casino and triple it on a sure thing. But Liz wanted to open a shop in Red Bluff. Talk about throwing away your money on a long shot. But I thought it was a good idea at the time. 1994, Red Bluff was young enough and grown up enough to support a shop like Wild Oak. And that was not the first name we came up with, by the way. I wanted to call it Red Bluff. And asked around, apparently I'm the only guy who used the word rad since 1978. But until this week when Sarah Anger wrote and said, "Hey man, the show's gonna be rad." So I wrote her back and said, "Hey man, thanks for ruining my joke." Liz wanted to call the place Gene Penny's worst nightmare. That just made it seem like he owned the place. Finally agreed on Wild Oak, and apparently that was a smart choice because there's a bunch of other businesses called Wild Oak that have sprung up in the North States since then. For true, Wild Oak Records became Wild Oak Music, Wild Oak Real Estate, Wild Oak Mortgage, Wild Oak Rehab. Logical. We were the original Wild Oak, 20 years of Red Bluff legacy. And, it didn't start out that way. I mean, on our first day, our grand opening, we had one customer. One old guy came in, took a look at the hippie shit, was like, looked behind the counter, "How much for the duct tape?" It got better after that. And Doug and Sarah are going to be up here making fun of themselves and the new Wild Oak a little later, so I'm going to leave that to them and their funny friends. But I just do want to say to them and to everybody that we're so glad to be doing this together. It's all kind of a family thing. And, it is that, in fact, literally a family thing because Phil Angers in French Reform, that's Sarah Angers' brother. And those two guys at Bobby Botticello are like everybody's old dirty uncle. So it's kind of one of the few people think I'm a son of a bitch. So.